This is the second tutorial where I show how to make a 3D bat and ball game. In the first tutorial I showed how to move the bat. In this tutorial I'll show how to make a simple game where you shield your planet from alien artificial meteors, and if you let them pass, your planet will be destroyed. The starting point for this tutorial is the file made in the previous tutorial. You can download the file from my website, or you can follow the tutorial and make the file yourself. Add mesh UV sphere and change shading to smooth. In physics properties, click Object Physics, set the type to rigid body, click Collision Bounds and set the collision shape to sphere. The sphere is the object source for multiple copies. I want to hide it, so I'm going to put it behind the camera. Set the Z location to -16. In the material properties, click the New Material button, click the diffuse color and set the green and blue values to 0. Scroll down and in the Special Collision panel, click Special Collision and set the elasticity to 1. Select the cube, click Special Collision and set the elasticity of the cube's material to 1. Scroll up, click Diffuse and set the red and blue values to 0. Because we have a flat face facing a hemi lamp, I'm going to set the specular intensity to 0 and I'm going to set emit to 2. Because we're looking at the back of the bat, to be able to see the ball, I'm going to make the bat semi-transparent. Scrolling down in the transparency panel, click Show Transparency, set the alpha to 0.5 and type to alpha blend. In the world properties, click Render Sky, click the horizon color and set the red value to 0.2, the green value to 0.3 and the blue value to 0.4. The Blender scene is now ready. I've already made a new Blend for Web project called My Planet Shield 2. I'm now going to overwrite the dummy Blender file and use it to overwrite the dummy JSON file. Back in Blender, File, Save As, go to the Blend for Web folder, the Projects folder, the My Planet Shield 2 folder, Blender, click on the Blender file and click Save As to overwrite it. To overwrite the JSON file, File, Export, Blend for Web JSON, make sure you're in the Planet Shield 2 Assets folder, click on the JSON file and click Export to overwrite it. To add the JavaScript code for the game, back in Project Manager, click the Edit link, click the link for the JavaScript file, the .js file. Here I have the finished code open in a text editor. You can download the file from my website or you can type in the code yourself. First, I'm going to copy over the extra modules, the constants and the global variables. Right-click Copy, click, right-click Paste. I'm scrolling to the end of the file to find the Place Your Code Here comment and finding the same place in the finished file. Highlight the code, right click copy, click, right click, paste. And I'm going to comment out the camera controls. And finally, copy over the functions, highlight, right click, copy, click, right click, paste, click save and back to projects. Click the link for the web page, the HTML file, and hope that it all works. If it doesn't, see my tutorial on using the web console for basic debugging. I have 5 meteors I have to defend from hitting my planet. Next, I'm going to look at the code and explain what it does. In this simple version of the game, the number of meteors is a constant. It can be set to a low value for testing and a higher value for playing the game. There are 2 global variables, game lost and game won, which are both initialized to false. Scrolling down to the load callback function, the function that is called once the 3D scene has been loaded. Our code starts with a call to the create text display function. I've only added one event listener listening for the mouse move event. In the previous tutorial, there was an event listener for the mouse down, mouse click event. The user picked up the bat by clicking on it and released it by clicking again. In this version, the bat automatically follows the mouse and is released when the game is either won or lost. And finally, there is a call to the make duplicates function, the function that creates the meteors. In this version of the mouse moved callback function, the bat only follows the mouse if the game is not lost and not won. Once game lost or game won become true, the bat will not be translated, it will stay where it is. At the heart of the make duplicates function are 5 lines that make the duplicate spheres, set their initial locations and append them to the 3D scene. This line uses the objects module copy function to make duplicates of the sphere. Source object is the sphere from the Blender scene. These lines use the built-in random method to generate a random number between 0 and 12 for the X location and between 0 and 6 for the Y location. This line sets the starting location for the duplicate. The Z location is set to 100. The duplicate is appended to the 3D scene at the location. The setTimeout built-in method executes a function after a delay measured in milliseconds. So after 4.8 seconds, the duplicate is removed from the scene. 4.8 seconds is enough time for the duplicate sphere to either hit the bat or to pass it. The getTranslation function gets the X, Y and Z locations of the sphere. The square brackets 2 is only the Z location. If after 4.8 seconds the Z location is less than 0, then the duplicate sphere must have passed the bat and game lost is set to true. With the setInterval method, the myTimer function is called repeatedly with a 2000 millisecond, a 2-second interval between calls. In the myTimer function, a duplicate is made. So duplicates are continuously made every 2 seconds until clear interval stops the process. Clear interval is called if either game lost is true or the game is won. How do we know if the game has been won? Well, this set timeout has a long enough delay for all the meteors to be created and to have fallen either onto the bat or past it. If all the meteors were made, then we can set game 1 to true. The user could have missed the last meteor, but then game lost would have been set to true. Else we get well done. I'm going to end the tutorial there. I'll put the files used in the tutorial for you to download at my website. To visit my website, click the eye icon in the top right hand corner. If you'd like to subscribe, click the stick man. If you'd like to sponsor my tutorials, click the Patreon link. Thanks for watching and goodbye.